Hello everyone, and welcome back to Modern Warships with Terry. Sorry that it took so long. I have been extremely busy last week, but I'll try to catch up with some things about Modern Warships. Because while this is still mainly a World of Warships Blitz channel, I do want to, especially as it's a new game, catch up on some reviews and some strategies and this kind of stuff. Today we'll be talking about the Project LUN, and it's not Loon as in Looney Tunes, it's actually, I think, LUN as in L-U-N. This is, well, you could say it's a plane, but it isn't really. It's a ground effect vehicle. Now, what's a ground effect vehicle? It's based on the general idea that the closer you are to the ground, the more upwards force you get on wings of aircraft. So especially the Soviets built quite a few of these things around that idea, saying this is, well, it's not really a ship, but it's not also really an aircraft because it doesn't fly, like it doesn't go up into the air. It flies at a very low altitude, but it actually has a reasonably high speed. It's much faster than a real ship. So these things also didn't need big wings. I mean, as you can see, the wings are really short on this thing, and that's because it's not actually meant to fly. It's meant to sea skim, sort of. And this is an ekranoplan, or as NATO was calling it, the Caspian Sea monster, because they did spot it first in the Caspian Sea, and they had absolutely no idea what this thing was meant to be. And this thing really existed. And actually, in fact, it still exists until today. I think it's part of a museum somewhere in Russia, or at least that was the plan. I'll have to look up where exactly, but yeah, that was a real thing. It wasn't super successful because these things they did have a lot of problems. So as soon as the sea got a little bit rough, well, you had an issue, and you were skimming across the sea at very, very high speeds, much higher than what we can do here in the game. But if something unforeseen got in your way, you did have a certain amount of difficulty of getting out of the way. So in the end, these were not super effective or super successful projects. But this was a real thing, or still is. So what is this in the game? It's a very unique vehicle, because I don't think there's anything else like this in here. So it's sort of in a class by its own, although it's classified as the small, like corvette frigate sort of size, at least from the icon that it gets in the game. What does it not have? It doesn't. it doesn't have much health. It's not particularly maneuverable, although it's also not terrible. The radar range is a bit on the short side, and the AA is frankly, well, it's there and it can deal with single missiles. Let me put it this way, because this thing gets 2 ball turrets, 23 millimeter or 30 millimeter. These are fixed built in, so you can't change these. But you get these 20 or 30 millimeter ball turrets. There's one in here, forward, and there's another one somewhere back here, yeah, in the rear, in the tail. So you have, given that they have a very, very limited angle, you actually have, no sideways AA whatsoever. You have some AA forward and some AA backwards, and that's it. So carriers can absolutely blow this thing out of the water with strike wings easily, because it just can't defend itself very effectively. What it does have, though, is 3 anti-ship missile launchers, and that's these huge chunks of tubes, these huge noob tubes that you see here on the back of it. And these came historically with the Moskit anti-ship missile. I have put the slightly more modern Onyx in it, which is a reasonably recent Russian supersonic anti-ship and cruise missile. Because, I figured it's modern warship, so I may as well put something more modern in it. And it's Russian, so it's fitting. So yes, you get 3 missile launchers, and that's it. You don't have any guns, you don't have anything else, really. 3 missile launchers and 2 ball turrets. But one thing that you may have not noticed when I was quickly skipping over it, have a look at the speed of this thing. This thing, on a flat sea, does over 54 knots. That is, by far, the fastest vehicle in the game. Which means you can do some reasonably interesting plays with this. First of all, you can pop up in places where nobody really expects you to be. You can run away from things pretty effectively. And you kind of have to, because as soon as you get attacked, there's really not much you can do about it. And obviously, missiles being missiles, missiles can be, defended against. So you also have a reasonably limited amount of ammo. That said, you have very, very powerful offensive weapons that, if used correctly, can obliterate half the enemy team. So let's look at some gameplay about this. So in the first game here, we are on the storm map, which is always a bit unfortunate because it has no cover. And cover is kind of what you need in this thing to defend yourself. So also given that there are 3 enemy aircraft carriers in the battle, and given that a single strike wing from something like a USS Nimitz can take down about 2/3 of my health easily, I am going to revert. And I am actually going to park myself next to that friendly carrier, because carriers have lots of AA. And I'm hoping that that'll give me some AA cover, and I can add my own AA, well, as little as it is to it. So yeah, just make sure that you're actually pointing this thing towards or away from incoming anti-aircraft fire, because that sideways there's nothing you can do. Now the first problem obviously is spotting, but given that we have carriers in battle, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, there's one of the enemy destroyer. I think it's a Korean one. And we're going to start lobbing missiles at this thing. We ourselves are unspotted at this point, so we're just going to open up. And there you can see the first impacts happening. I don't know if this thing is playing alone, or if he's not if he's just coming on a concentrated air attack. I'm looking where my friendly carrier is putting the planes, and it looks of it that the strike wing is going in. Okay, that thing's down. There's HMS Duncan. Okay, there comes some enemy aircraft, but they're not targeting me. And they're flying over the carrier. So I'm going to just position myself nose in towards the Duncan, so I can help out a little bit with missile defense. But other than that, I'm just going to park myself here and play the arty game and lob missiles at things. Now this isn't how I usually like to play in this thing, because it's, it is very fast, and I want to use the speed to the advantage. But again, the problem is if I get myself separated here, any of these airstrike wings can just take me out. So that Duncan should be dead. Which leaves, and I think there are 2 carriers over there, and it's a Nimitz, and the Nimitz has a fearsome amount of AA. So unless he's otherwise occupied, usually my missiles don't really get through. And he might have some planes incoming. There's definitely strike wings flying around there, but double Nimitz sounds like a waste of ammo. So there's got to be a 3rd carrier around somewhere, and now at this point, since I'm not under actually attack, I can sail around a little bit and either get closer to these guys, or there's one of the drones. So there she is. There's the Queen Elizabeth. Now Queen Elizabeth is not so much of an issue, and once again, if she becomes target of our airstrikes and of other missile fire, you can actually concentrate and overwhelm the AA. And these Russian cruise missiles up there, we lost one, but the other... Oh no, actually all 3 got through. It was something else that it shot down. Also a lot of the... Oh yes, because it's focused on the planes. Okay, so that's that thing down. That only leaves the double Nimitz. And we're already at 300,000 points of damage. So I'm just going to park myself here and wait for the enemy planes, for the friendly planes to come in and destruct the AA of these Nimitz-class aircraft carriers. And now you see they're taking on the planes, which means I can get my missiles in from the side. What's really effective against aircraft carriers is torpedoes, but well, this thing doesn't have any. So now I'm starting to get a little bit of fire from the air. So they've definitely noticed me. But there's also one of our destroyers, which is I think rushing them, which will become a more immediate problem than me lobbing missiles at long range. I'm just backing up a little bit. And even backwards, this thing is faster than most destroyers in this game. So just backwards, so I can point my A towards whatever comes. But that's the Nimitz down, and then there's only 1 Nimitz left. And he might be taking out our friendly destroyer here, but I am definitely getting the missiles in, because he is getting striked from all directions, which means, he's effective. His AA is getting overwhelmed, and there's no such thing as cover on this map. So if you're in a carrier and you see one of these things on the game, you really want to deal with them, because otherwise, if you give them free roam, they can wipe out pretty much the whole enemy team. So how about if it's a little bit more exciting than just me lobbing missiles? And in this map we are playing on Greenlands. Now Greenlands has islands, and islands are your friend because while you have, and I'm going to make a more detailed videos about cruise missiles, anti-ship missiles and their offense and defense and how you deal with them, but islands are your friend because you don't have much in terms of AA, so either you park yourself next to something that does, or you use the islands to your advantage to block enemy incoming fire. Works for torpedoes very nicely as well. So here we are. Now we're just going to wait for the game to start. And yeah, so on this kind of map with cover, I can actually make use of the speed more. I've got 2 destroyers spawning next to me and 1 corvette frigate and a sub on the right side. So we're going to face 2, it's usually cross spawn, so we're going to face 2 opponents on this side and 3 opponents on the other side. Enemy team has 1 sub, 2 destroyers and 2 smaller vessels. So my initial position is just going to be around this island here because that gives me some cover to the right side, and there we go, there's 1 enemy ship already. Let's see if I can get a lock in because I'm not actually spotted yet. But he seems to be sailing straight, so I'm just in case he's stopping and reversing, I'm lobbing some missiles in this direction. If he keeps sailing straight, they'll just hit the volcanic island in the center and do nothing. But there's 1 destroyer here with me, so let's scout a little bit ahead. Just think, oh no, we've got 2 missiles in, you see? And there's the submarine on just to my right, but oh, there's also something else launching missiles. Okay, there he is. Yeah, that's I think that's an enemy corvette or frigate. I have to see if which one, because I can't always remember. But this thing doesn't have much AA, and he's alone. I mean, there's a submarine next to him, but the submarine doesn't have any AA whatsoever. So against these kind of ships, I am extremely deadly. And I'm just parking myself behind the island and side scraping around the corner. Let's see if he's noticing me. But I've taken half his health down already, and there's is that meant for me? Yeah, that's meant for me. You can see it, a little red cycle. It's meant for me, so I'm just backing up. Let that missile hit the island, and then I'm going forward again. So yeah, if you're in a small ship like this and sailing out in the open with a triple missile launcher parked right next to you, you really don't want to be here. You need to be somewhere else. You need to get yourself in some cover, recover some health, and there he goes. All right, how does it look like? We've already lost 1 sub and 1. How did we lose a sub so early? I have no idea. But there's another one of those things, so we'll play the same game again. And he is pointing my way, so I'm just going to lob missiles. And I might have to use the chaff. Okay, he definitely noticed me because he used chaff to defend himself. But I'm reasonably close, so his AA, as little as it is, doesn't have much of a chance to deal with my incoming fire. I will just park ourselves behind the island just in case he has any funny ideas. And soon as he pokes his nose around the corner, we'll blob some more missiles into him. There he is. Hello. And he's seen me, he's shooting at me, but yeah, he's used chaff once more, so I'm pointing away from him so my AA can take down a single missile that this thing probably has. There it comes, and AA takes it out, so I don't need to use my chaff consumables quite yet, and there it's gone. Alright, which means I'm a little bit far out of the battle, but there are still 2 destroyers, and there's only 1 destroyer on our side, so this is unfortunate. This destroyer is probably not going to live very long because he's on half health and these 2 are on full health. So I'm going back as quick as I can, and I am doing over 50 knots, or just about 50 knots. But it'll take a second for me to get back into range. And if that destroyer should have gone defensive and should have tried to go behind an island, because I was out of position to support. Now I am trying what I can here to support and just lob missiles from the side. But these 2 are full health, and now I'm the last player alive. So this is going to become a question of ammunition. Obviously I need to get myself into a defensible position first, but of course there are 2 of them, so if these 2 are sticking together, this is going to get a lot more tricky. Ideally I want to fight them one by one, so I'm going to park myself next to the island, and then reverse, and I will have to use my chaff, because that missile was too close, I couldn't get behind the island in time. So he's obviously rushing me, and so is the other one. And I'm going to see if we can get away from him and lob some more missiles in that direction and just kind of point the rear gun turret. No, it wasn't quite enough, had to use another chaff here. But you only have 7 charges of this, so you do want to use them sparingly. The problem is, well, obviously everyone's shooting at me. So once again, I have to use it because I can't get behind the island in time, and I think one of the missiles actually hit me. Or maybe it was, haven't paid attention if it was a torpedo. No, I think that's what's chasing me, was chasing me there was a torpedo. So So that went into the island. Okay, we're gonna have to wear one of them down. Well, of course, if they're sticking together, they have a respectable amount of AA, the two of them, so we'll have to try and kill one without the other one helping too much. And once again, we're doing the side scrape thing around the island, and one missile shot down, but I got one hit in. But it's not going to be enough, because he's still just on half health, and he's right next to me. But at least the other one can't shoot at me, because the island is in between. So I'm going to have to risk a little bit and go into a close range fight here. Use that's a torpedo, so I'm going to get that to hit the island. And I am just going to hit the island. Yeah. And I'm just going to lob missiles from this direction and then point my rear towards it so it can actually shoot things down. Now, obviously, if I'm very, very close, the risk from gunfire to me is very high. But I have also a much better chance of getting the missiles on target, because if his AA is gun-based, he's probably not having a huge amount of time to shoot at it. Now, torpedoes are a bit of an issue. I mean, you can normally dodge them, you just have to drive around in circles. The problem is I don't want to drive around in circles because that thing's right there. Okay, that's one down. But now I'm having an ammunition problem because I only have two missiles left in each launcher, and I think 3 in the last one. So I am duking the torpedoes as much as I can, but of course he can use heals and he can use chaff, and that's a full health destroyer. So yeah, 2 of my tubes are out. There's no way, I don't even have enough, even if they were all hitting, I wouldn't have had enough firepower to actually kill him with this. So I'm thinking the only thing I can really do at this point, because I'm almost out, this is going to be my last missile, is see if I can go for the ram. I don't actually know what happens. I don't think I've ever seen a draw, but I'm completely out, so I'm just going to dodge that torque that's coming in there. But I don't have a chaff anymore, so these missiles are probably going to kill me, or he's going to kill me with guns. Yeah, just before I can get the ram off. But yeah, so even if you do 500,000 points of damage, if the rest of your team is just getting themselves obliterated, there's very little you can do. But all in all, this is an absolutely fun vehicle. It has a murderous damage output. It has no defense whatsoever, or very little defense, but it's a really, really fun small ship to play. You just have to play carefully, and if your team isn't completely potatoing, then you have a really, really reasonable chance to do damage. And it's a premium, so you get extra, I think, 20% gold and credits. So if you're just grinding for upgrade points, then this is a good thing to use as well. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye!